What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and this is your stimulus check update and stimulus package update. And as you guys know, last night we had a speech from President Joe Biden addressing the nation and the upcoming stimulus. Now, before he gave that speech, I did a quick poll on my channel asking people if they thought a fourth stimulus check would be mentioned or be brought into the package yesterday. And as you can see, 62% of people said yes. Now, in this video, I'm going to be covering some articles that are going to be diving into the details of what was brought up in the speech, what was not brought up, and I'm going to get you caught up on the latest on stimulus checks, stimulus packages, and Joe Biden's speech last night. So I'm going to dive right in, but before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you like and appreciate these updates, keeping you up to date on all this stuff, don't forget to smash that like button, leave your comments, and share this video out on social media platforms. Those simple gestures just take a second, and they really help me out a ton. Thank you so much. And if this is your first time here, come and join the Ram fam. Smash the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I'll keep you up to date on stimulus, unemployment, Congress, the economy, taxes, anything having to do with investing or money. That's what I like to talk about here. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at SteveRam3. You can also get a hold of me in the Patreon group as well. And always remember that here on YouTube, when I respond to your comments, you're always going to see a gray stripe on my name. And if you don't see that, it's not me. It's those pesky scammers trying to steal your information. Look, I'm here to give you information, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's dive into these articles, and I'm going to get you caught up on the latest regarding the stimulus checks, the stimulus packages, and Joe Biden's speech last night. All right, so first let's dive into this article that's going to be covering the details of what was included in that speech last night, and then we're going to dive into another article that's going to be covering specifically the fourth stimulus check. So link in the description below to this article that just came out this morning that says Biden pushes broad economic agenda in speech to Congress. And it says President Biden declared America is ready for takeoff as he pitched a sweeping vision for greater government investment to boost the economy, including a $1.8 trillion proposal for new spending on childcare, education, and paid leave. Addressing a joint session of Congress for the first time as president on Wednesday, Mr. Biden sought to strike a hopeful tone just ahead of his 100th day in office, stressing his efforts to combat the pandemic, expand vaccinations, which he urged all Americans to get, and spur economic growth. America is moving forward, and we cannot stop now, he said in remarks that ran just a little over an hour. We're in competition with China and other countries to win the 21st century. Now, Mr. Biden, he highlighted the American Families Plan, and as we mentioned, this is the last portion of the infrastructure package that's going to be helping provide additional funding and money to families. And it said this will be paid for largely by raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans. And his $2.3 trillion infrastructure package, that first part, which is the American Jobs Plan, that includes new spending on bridges, roads, and broadband internet. Mr. Biden cast a massive spending proposal as necessary to help the nation's economy and workers. Now, referring to family policies, Mr. Biden said that it was time for us to make a, quote, once-in-a-generation investment in our families and our children. He said the U.S. has used public spending on things like schools and space exploration to accomplish great things in the past. And he said, these are investments we have made together as one country and investments that only the government was in a position to make. And time and again, they propel us into the future. Now, to pay for all of his proposals, Mr. Biden would raise the top income tax and capital gains rates, boost taxes on companies, and rely on expanded internal revenue services to audit and collect more money. Mr. Biden stressed his campaign pledge that people making less than $400,000 would not pay more in taxes, but he said that it was time for companies and the wealthiest Americans to, quote, pay their fair share. Now, the president also called for Congress to back a slew of Democratic priorities, including raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, closing the gender pay gap, and strengthening worker bargaining rights. He called for the expanding access to health care and reducing prescription drug prices. Now, following a series of mass shootings, Mr. Biden urged Congress to take action on gun control, and he asked lawmakers to pass a policing bill named for George Floyd, a black man whose killing set off a wave of protests last year by anniversary of his May 25th death. Mr. Biden acknowledged tensions with Russia and China, but said that the U.S. should seek opportunities to cooperate on issues of mutual interest. Mr. Biden said that he has conveyed to China President Xi Jinping that the U.S. was not looking for conflict, even as he vowed to hold Beijing accountable for human rights and unfair trade practices. The president characterized his approach toward Russia in a similar terms, expressing his desire to avoid escalation while warning Moscow against actions that could risk further sanctions. His administration is preparing for a possible summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin this summer. He also defended his plan to withdraw U.S. forces from Afghanistan by September 11th. Now, the White House said that the new family proposals include $1 trillion in new spending over the course of 10 years and about $800 billion in tax cuts, largely extensions of breaks created or expanded in this year's pandemic relief law. Now, Mr. Biden is calling for a universal preschool program for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds and 2 years of tuition-free community college for all Americans. He would also provide money to make childcare more affordable for low and middle income families and establish a national paid leave program for those needing time to care for a child or a loved one to recover from the illness, among other reasons. Now listen to this. To pay for all of these new programs, the administration proposes raising the top income rate to 39.6% from 37% for households making more than $1 million. Mr. Biden would also raise the top rate on capital gains and dividends to 39.6% from 20%, including existing payroll and investment taxes, each 3.8%, and the top rates on wages and capital gains would reach up to 43.4%, up from 23.8%, so pretty much almost doubling. And he would expand the 3.8% tax to some new types of income. Now, Mr. Biden would also adjust how capital gains are taxed at death, and the plan relies on $700 billion in revenue that the administration says would come from an expansion of the IRS that has shrunk after a decade of budget cuts. So that pretty much summarizes everything that was included in the speech last night. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, I know I personally felt that all this stimulus coming out, it being mentioned that it was going to be paid for by these massive tax increases, I was thinking that the markets would respond negatively today. However, the opposite has happened. They have shot up. Now, we'll see if there's a correction, but right now, it looks like they're thinking, I guess, more stimulus, so markets are increasing, things are going up. All right, you guys, so now let's discuss specifically that fourth stimulus check and the speech last night. So link in the description below to this article that came out last night and then was updated this morning that reads, what are the chances of a fourth stimulus check after Biden's address to Congress? And it says, with more than 160 million checks from the last relief bill now delivered, Americans are asking if more are on the way. And it says, Americans are wondering, or were wondering, if President Joe Biden would bring up the idea of a fourth stimulus check during his first address to Congress Wednesday. Searches for, quote, Biden speech stimulus and Biden for stimulus increased on Google during his speech. And it says, the president brought up the subject of the American Rescue Plan during his address, and he said, we kept our commitment, and we are sending $1,400 rescue checks to 85% of all American households. We've already sent more than 160 checks out the door, and it's making a difference. Now listen to this. But there was no indication from the speech that Biden plans to introduce another bill with more stimulus checks. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, we did a poll and the majority of viewers thought a fourth check would be brought up in the speech or be introduced in the proposal. So at this moment, there is not. But that does not mean it can't be included before the bill is written up, or even before that bill is passed into law, it could be introduced into it as well, like we've seen with previous stimulus packages. Now, here on the channel, as you guys know, whether it's included or not, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date on the latest so that way you know what's unfolding. But this is very interesting because the majority of people thought a fourth one would be mentioned in that speech, and we also had a lot of confirmation from members of Congress. Even the article says, take a look, multiple reports last month indicated that 50 Democratic members of the House and up to 21 Democratic U.S. senators signed letters urging Biden to push for reoccurring or monthly payments to Americans as long as the pandemic continues. And it says Americans broadly supported Biden's first pandemic relief package passed 7 weeks ago. Pew Research said that there was support for the bill up to 70%. And also, we saw that there was massive support for monthly reoccurring checks in those reports as well. So you guys, right now, it is not mentioned. There was nothing in the proposal for that fourth check. But like I said, as more information rolls out, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date here on the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, with that being said, you guys, we're expecting to see Congress turn their attention towards drafting up the official bills for the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan, and more details will be released regarding what's going to be included in those. And as that comes out, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date here on the channel, and hopefully soon maybe we'll hear some more information about a potential fourth check being included in that last portion, the American Families Plan. So you guys, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. And once again, if you made it this far and you haven't already, and you like and appreciate these updates, don't forget to smash that like button, smash the subscribe button to come and join the Ram fam to stay up to date on everything that's happening with money. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at SteveRam3. Get 2 free stocks in the link in the description below when you download the Webull app. Get some free crypto when you use the link in the description below for the Coinbase app. And always remember that here on YouTube, when I respond to comments, I always will have a gray stripe on my name, and if it doesn't have that, it's not me, it's those pesky scammers, you guys. And with that being said, I hope this reaches you well. I hope you have a great day. I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.